thank you for tuning in. I'm so sorry I missed last week. I'm going to get into kind of the whys I was out last week because it kind of ties into what I'm talking about today. But I so appreciate you tuning in this week and getting into the Word with me. I missed it. I missed being able to have this time to share a word and a message with you. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Today I'm going to be talking about Psalms 119, 34 through 35. This is my favorite Bible verse. This Bible verse was written to me, the way I found it, it was written on a message board at church camp when I was 17 years old. That's the same year and the same year of summer camp that I gave my life to Christ. And I was also able to, after being given this Bible verse, to share my testimony with about 200 other teens that summer. And I say that I was able to do that because of this Bible verse, because I felt like to that point my testimony wasn't finished, or it was like missing a piece. My testimony still isn't finished, because as long as I'm living, breathing here on earth on this side, I have a testimony and he's adding to it. We're working on it every day. But up to that point in my life, I felt like my testimony wasn't complete. I didn't understand a part of it. But when I found this verse, it opened my eyes, and I felt like I was able to understand, to share my testimony with other people because of this Bible verse. And I carry it with me, and it's come with me everywhere ever since, and I refer back to it often because it just is so much truth to me and what I feel like my relationship and what a relationship with Christ looks like and how it works for me. That summer at church camp, the theme message for the week was about masks and how we wear a mask sometimes so we wear a mask to look one way on the outside, but it's covering our true identity on the inside. And we have these masks for circumstances that we face in life, or because we feel like we need to have one to appear one way on the outside instead of showing who we are on the inside. And I was wearing a mask at that time in my life. And being able to share and giving my life to Christ, I was able to not only reveal that mask, but I was able to let go of that mask. I didn't have to live behind it anymore, and I could live in truth and spirit with God and what He intended and His plan for me. It was a liberating and freeing feeling. It showed me that I did have a testimony to share, and that God can use and do things with the things that I'd been through. And I didn't just go through those things for nothing. That there was something to come from them. You know, there's a song that says, He turns graves into gardens, and that's exactly what He can do. So where we think is our darkest, deepest places in our lives that's unreachable, God sheds light on those. God turns our graveyards into gardens, something sad, something broken, something gray into beauty. And that's what He did in my life in that time. That's what He's still doing as we're still on this journey together. But God has the power to free us, to use our story and to use our story to bring others to Him. I want to put so much emphasis on the mask that I was wearing at that time. So that specific mask. And I say that with emphasis because life continues. Sometimes we find other masks. Sometimes we have multiple masks, or we put on other types of fronts because of the circumstances that we've been through. And I did that. I do that. I would love to say that at 17, when I gave my life to Christ, that God made me perfect, and that I didn't have to put on another mask, or I didn't face anything else after that, and that I didn't run from Him. But that's just not the case. That's not my story, and that's not how it happened. God is revealing something to me all of the time. I'm not perfect, and He's working on me every day. So there are areas in my life where that God's saying you need to work on those. And I have picked up other masks where I feel like in areas I appear one way on the outside, but I'm hiding something that I'm dealing with on the inside. Recently, an area in my life that God is working on me is control. So, do I have any Virgos that are tuning in to these messages? If you're into that astrology stuff, I'm just kidding, but I do like to read those because I find them interesting sometimes, and I do feel like I relate to some things that fall under a Virgo, and one of them is that Virgos like to have control. They like to have a plan and it to be their way or the highway, and I do struggle with that. That's something that I deal with on a regular basis, and it's really something that I've been dealing with here lately. And that's one thing about me. I do like to have control. I do like to have a plan. And I sometimes in certain situations feel like I know what's best and I know how to do things the right way. And it comes across a lot in my workplace and in situations where I have to work as in a group with other people. And last week at work was a rough week. So I didn't post last week because my brain was so fried and it was an interesting week. And I just felt like I couldn't put the energy behind the message that I wanted to share last week. And maybe it was because God was preparing me for the message that he wanted me to share this week, which was about me and what he's working on me about. And but last week was rough, and it was one of those, have you ever came home from work, you're getting in the car and you don't even turn on the radio because your brain can't handle any more stimulation? That's what I was feeling. My brain was fried. And as I reflected on those situations, a lot of it was because there were scenarios and situations that I couldn't control. I can't control how another person decides to work, and I can't control situations or conversations that other people have that pull you into situations, pulled me into situations that I didn't like. I didn't have control over that, and that made it even more hard and frustrating to handle last week. But it made it hard because I couldn't reconcile those situations because I didn't have control over those situations. So I struggled with reconciling what happened last week. Ultimately, things worked out, but it did reveal parts of me that I need to work on a little bit more. And control is one of those things, because when I am in situations like that, boy, it can be really hard to to work in group settings with people that don't have the same personality or the work type or the drive, the same ambition, goals, and personalities that I do. And it's a big roadblock for me when I meet new people, or if I have to work with groups of new people. It's a big roadblock for me, and it's a hurdle that I want to work on, because in the places that God's put me in, I'm going to be working with people pretty often. And it's important that I understand that he has control over situations and plans, and he has control over the plan in my life that's already been sorted for me, and it's perfect. So why do I struggle so much with control? Part of me sharing this with you, though, is to show you that God's always working on us, and that it's not the ending point when you give your life to Christ, that it's really just the beginning. And we're going to go through things in our life that he's going to have to sort through and work through with us our whole life. And it's a process. And when I gave my life to Christ at 17, I made a commitment. I sat there and said, God, I want you to have it all. And I meant at that time all. And when God said that he wanted it all, he means it. But did I mean it when I was sitting there at 17? Did I mean, I want you to have it all? Or did I say, I just want you to have most of it, but I want to keep control over everything? I don't want you to have a hand in controlling my plan or my path. I want to control that part because I know what's best, and that's what I did. And that's what I do sometimes. And I should know better, especially because I understand when I live by my plan and my path, When I take control and put God in the passenger seat, all that I'm doing is getting myself so lost. And I'm leading and driving myself down a road of disappointment. I know this through through doing this over and over again. And that's why God's revealing it, because I'm going to keep sending myself down roads of disappointment until I can truly say, God, I want you to have it all. So this is me sitting in front of you saying, I gave my life to Christ when I was 17 years old, but I still struggle with stuff. And I still struggle with giving God 100% of me. So this is me revealing another mask that I've been wearing to you. I am sitting here saying that I want God to have full control, to sit in the driver's seat and to use me to execute that plan that he has for me to bring other people to him. He's going to use, just like I'm doing right now, the story that the part of me that he's revealing for me to work on is a story that I'm sharing with you, because I know that if I'm struggling with letting go control and giving God the reins, then I know that somebody else is too. And I want you to know that it's possible and there's freedom and it's liberating in his love and in the plan that he has for you. And a couple weeks ago, we talked about Jonah and the whale, and I want to touch on it again, because what happened to Jonah when he wanted to have control? So giving up for me to sit in the driver's seat and push God to the passenger seat is for me to run. It's not it is me saying I know it's better, but it's me running. It's me not taking on that plan that he has for me head on and working through it. It's me saying I know what's better for me, and it's not that. So I need you to scoot over so I can get on the road and get going where I need to go. But when Jonah did that, what did it do? It led him straight into the mouth of the whale, and he sat there for 3 days and 3 nights. And God was working and revealing stuff on him. Ultimately, Jonah is out of the whale, and he goes on and finishes his calling. Sort of. He finishes it, but he goes and speaks to this nation, and God's plan was executed through Jonah, and God saves those people. Those people repented. God believed them, and he saved those people. But because of Jonah's ideas and plans that he had created in his mind, he didn't think that he was disappointed in God's work. So he sat and pouted under a tree outside of the city, and God withered the tree that he was sitting under. So Jonah ran and was left disappointed, and in the mouth of the whale. He completed and missed out on God's miracles for that nation that he saved them. So disappointed that he sat there and pouted about it. And the tree that he was under, God withered. That's what I'm doing to myself when I take control and I run. I'm running straight into the mouth of the whale, but I'm also withering the tree that I'm under. I'm emptying my own cup. I'm running from the fountain of life, and now I'm left questioning or thirsty, or I'm left to the elements just like Jonah was, and thinking, wow, what did I do? And missing out in the big picture. I don't want to miss out anymore. I don't want to keep running from what God has called for my life. I want to marvel in it. I want to be a part of it. I want God to have control and take control of my life, and so that I can stop driving down roads that are disappointing in the end. God is the end all be all for me, and that's the path that I want to be on. So Psalms 119, 34 through 35 is, give me understanding so that I may keep your law and obey it with all my heart. Direct me in the path of your commands, for that's where I find delight. In another in another version of the Bible, it says, put me on the path of your commands, for that's where my happiness is found. This is my favorite verse because it speaks so much truth to me and in my journey. I want to be on the path of his commands. I struggled with sharing my testimony because I didn't understand my testimony. So when this verse was written to me, it enlightened me. It opened my eyes to it. I need the understanding because I need to trust. I have an issue with letting go control. So I need to understand and I need to understand so that I can obey and obey it with all of my heart. I know this about me. And so what does that look like for me? That means I need to be in His Word. I need to be in relationship with God and working on that relationship so He can continue to reveal, so I can bask in His truth and in His Word so that I can obey it with all my heart. Because if I don't, if I'm outside of it, I'm not going to, because I won't understand. This is a book full of things for me to understand, and that's where I need to be in order to have and to work on the relationship with Him. And then to put me on the path of your commands, for that's where my happiness is found. I need to understand to be on the path. And when I'm on the path, that's where my happiness is found. It's not outside of the path. It is right there in His Word, trusting in Him. And I wanted to share this with you because like I said, I know that if I'm struggling with it, somebody else out there is. And if you're not struggling with this specifically, you're struggling with something. And I want to encourage and so badly want to just sit there with anybody and read through His Word together, to speak truth into your life through the Word, because I'm so tired of missing out, and I don't want you to miss out on anything anymore either. So if you are struggling with something and you want to have a conversation, please reach out to somebody. Here at Farmdale, if you have family, a family member, reach out to somebody. And just know also that people at Farmdale, we're praying for you. We love you. We would love to have you in person. But if we can't, we'll see you here next week, so we can continue to dive into the Word together, so we can hold each other accountable to this journey that we're on together. But this is me saying to you that I am revealing a mask that I've been living, that I like to take control of things and put God in the passenger seat, but I don't want to do that anymore. And so this is me saying it to you. I'm not going to do that anymore. I want God to have control. We'll see you here next week. Thanks. Bye.